Hey everyone, and welcome to your C# tutorial on while loops in C#. So let's jump into this by just discussing at a high level what is a loop in programming. So a loop is a code structure that executes a sequence of instructions while a Boolean expression is true. So that's kind of a lot to digest. So just to reiterate it, a loop is a code structure that executes a sequence of instructions while a Boolean expression is true. So a loop will run through the same instructions that you give it, and then at the end of the instructions, it'll check, hey, is this Boolean true? If that condition is true, then it will run through the instructions again. At the end of the instructions, it will check, hey, is this condition true? If it is, it'll run through the instructions again and keep doing that until the expression is not true. So that's what a loop is. And it might make a little bit more sense if we looked at a while loop and how a while loop is created. So just to begin with the structure of a while loop, it begins with the while keyword followed by parentheses. And in these parentheses, you're going to pass in your condition. And so after you have your condition, you can begin your code block. And so we've used the curly braces to start and end the scope of the while loop. So inside of the scope of the while loop, we will write our code to execute. Right? So this is the basic structure of a while loop. And how this will work is once we get to this part of our code, the computer will see, hey, this is a while loop, so let's check our condition, the condition in between these parentheses. And it says, if this condition is true, then we'll execute the code block. So if it's true, then we'll go through and we'll execute the code that's here. And this code can be, multiple lines long. And it will go through and it'll say, okay, execute this instruction, execute this instruction, execute this instruction. And at the end of the instructions, it will go back and check the condition again, like we talked about previously. And if the condition's true, it'll keep running through that code over and over and over again. So let's create a little example here. I'll create a Boolean variable called is raining, or we'll call it is raining, and we'll set that equal to be true. And so in our condition area of our while loop, we will put in it is raining. Cool. So while it is raining, we're going to execute this code. Let's add our code now. We will do a console.writeLine, and we will write out, is it raining? We'll ask the user, hey, is it raining? And then we will do a console.readLine to read in a string. And we're going to store that in a variable called answer. So we have our console.readLine, and we're going to read in an input from the user. We'll store it in our string variable called answer. And let's write an if statement here. So we're going to say if answer is equal to yes, then we will say it it is raining is equal to true. So if the answer is equal to yes, we'll say it is raining is equal to true. Then we'll say else, and we will say, so if the answer is not yes, then we will say it is raining, and then we'll assign that to false, right? So before we run this code, and also I'll remove this hello world at the bottom. So we've created a Boolean called it is raining. We've assigned it to true. While it is raining, we are going to ask the user, is it raining? And in fact, we'll say, is it still raining? Then we read in an answer, and we store it in our answer variable. If the answer is yes, we will assign it is raining to true, which it already is true. So we could just write in a keyword called continue here, and it would continue through the loop. But for the sake of our example, I'm just going to assign this to true. And if it's not true, we're going to assign it is raining to false. So let's run our code here. And so we've I'm going to create a little space here. So bring this down. So here we've already entered the while loop because it is raining is true. So we've entered the while loop and we've asked, is it still raining? I'm going to answer yes. And I'm going to hit enter. And when I hit enter here, what do you think is going to happen? That's right. So I've answered yes, so it is raining is still true. That's the end of these instructions. So it reaches the end, and then it checks, is it raining still true? And since it is still true, we go through and we ask, is it still raining? Because it's going to keep running these instructions as long as is it's raining is true. So if I write in yes again, it'll keep going. And it'll keep doing this until I answer something that does not equal yes. So I'll answer no, and our program exits, and our loop stops, right? So that's essentially how loops work, and how a while loop works specifically. Loops are just a code structure that executes a sequence of instructions like this, as long as a Boolean expression is true. And this specifically is a while loop. So a while loop is a specific code structure that executes a sequence of instructions while a Boolean expression is true. So thanks for watching. Next lesson, we'll go into a different type of loop.